What's going on, ladies, gents, and kids of all ages? It is Eric coming back at you once again from the Nerd Cave, and today we are back for another deck tech video. We did that fun box break last time. I always enjoy making those videos. They are not the most exciting videos when it comes to the audience, so I thought I'd get back to doing what you guys love, which is the deck tech videos. I've had a lot of comments in the past asking me to cover a Steel Song deck list. It's not really something I've done on the channel. I have done like Wheel Fasa and stuff. I wanted to go ahead and cover my current Steel Song deck list, and the reason for that is I think it is different than it ever has been before. As you guys know, I'm not really big on covering meta decks unless it comes to the set championships breakdowns for decks that are going to be big in the set championships. Trying to make sure you guys have a leg up on the competition, but I do enjoy making kind of off meta decks or decks that are maybe meta colors but playing some cards you may not anticipate, and I think that's really how Steel Song looks more than ever. It's playing less songs. I'm a little more aggro heavy on this build, so it's a lot of fun and I think it's worth talking about. But we are like, I don't know, 20 subscribers away from hitting 1,500. So if you haven't subscribed, now's a great time to do so. As soon as we hit 1,500, we are going to be doing that Inklands booster box giveaway. So make sure you're dropping those comments to get entered into that. And if you haven't checked out the Patreon for extra entries, definitely check that out. Big shout out to our Patreons. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about my current Steel Song deck list. So the first card we're going to be playing, and this is going to be no surprise, isn't off meta by any means, is going to be 4 Cinderella Ballroom Sensation. Absolute must-have in Steel Song. 1-2 for 1, quest for 1, but its quest is not what's relevant. What's relevant is what's printed right there. Singer 3, so it's going to be able to come down and sing your awesome steel damage spells. People never want to see a turn 1 Cinderella. It's like Amber's scariest play. This is where we get into the off-meta options, and as you may imagine, playing Stitch New Dog, I must also be playing the shift line, and you are not mistaken, but we'll talk about that more later if you're not familiar with the Stitch shift line. Stick around, we'll be talking about what that does for us. But Stitch, 2-2 for 1, quest for 1, doesn't do much else, but is a beautiful foil. The Chapter 1 foils looked great. Love the Stitch New Dog foil. Next card I haven't gotten foils yet, and this is another off-meta option, is going to be Mickey Mouse Standard Bearer. 1-3 for 2, quest for 1. Pretty cool ability though. When it comes into play, it's going to be able to go ahead and give one of your other characters Challenger +2. Great with Stitch New Dog, great with Cinderella if you aren't looking at doing those shift lines, because you can go ahead and come down, get your Stitch up to a 4, and take out something pretty unexpectedly for your opponent. Then another card that I think has been coming into the fray a little bit more in Steel Song, but is still kind of the off-meta, more aggro option, I think, even though you have kind of been seeing it pop up on more Steel Song deck lists recently. That is Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain. Fantastic 2-drop, 2-2 for 1, quest for 1, but when you have 2 or more other characters in play, he is going to go ahead and quest for 3, which is fantastic, and he is a captain, so he is going to work fantastically with the next card we're going to be talking about, which is going to be Mr. Smee, Bumbling Mate, one of my absolute favorite cards from set 3. Still super hot on this card. 3-3 for 2, quest for 2, and at the end of your turn it is going to take 1 damage if you don't have a captain in play. As I mentioned, Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain is a captain, obviously, so they're going to work super well together. This is also one of the few characters in our deck that isn't a hero that is worth kind of talking about, because we are on a hero playstyle. We do have Hero Piglet, Mickey Mouse is a hero, Stitch is a hero, and Cinderella is a hero. So if you didn't know that already, all those cards are going to be heroes. We do have another hero coming up right here also in blue. Von Brunwald 13, 0-3 for 3, does go ahead and quest for 1. That's not its most relevant factor. It is a bodyguard, so it's going to be able to protect your other characters from taking a hit for 1 turn, maybe keep you questing. When this character is banished, you're going to gain 2 lore, so no matter how that happens, as long as they aren't doing something like Hades or Let It Go and sending it into your inkwell, you're going to be going ahead and getting 2 lore when they get rid of this. Then another absolute must, 3-drop wise in Steel Song. You guys probably would expect this along with the Cinderella. That is going to be Ariel Spectacular Singer. 2-3 for 3, quest for 1, Singer 5, which is fantastic. Is going to be able to sing our biggest songs in the deck. And when you play, you're going to look at the top 4 cards of your library and put a song from them into your hand. This is not quite as relevant in this build. I've seen people with 20, 22 song builds whiff on Ariel's all the time. This is a 16 song build, I believe, so the chances of whiffing on Ariel are a little bit higher, but her being able to sing the songs you already have is still going to be fantastic. And then another 3-drop, and as you can see, we are heavy on the 3s. All these guys are going to be able to sing our major damage spells, so they are worth having around, and Donald Duck is no exception. He is fantastic. 2 3 for 3, quest for 1. This is going to be another bodyguard, so he's going to be able to go ahead and protect your field, let your characters be able to get through for additional quests. And when you play this character, chosen character gets +1 lore, so he's going to be netting you 1 lore kind of right away if you have another character on the board. So something like turn 1 Cinderella, turn 2 Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain, and then turn 3 Donald Duck. You're actually going to be able to go ahead and quest with Piglet potentially for 4, and he is also another hero, as is Ariel, if I did not mention that. Then another hero and bodyguard. We do have 3 The Prince, never gives up, 1 3 for 3. He does quest for 2, which is fantastic, and has resist 1, and he's not your biggest ally against Mim Fox. Mim Fox is a very positive trade with this character, but he is fantastic into pretty much everything else that's going to happen on turn 3, as most of those characters aren't going to have 4 attack to be able to deal with him in one shot. He doesn't do a whole lot of damage back to them, but he's not really here for that. He's just here to protect your field and potentially get you another quest, maybe sing a song if that is more relevant at the time. But Prince is a card I love. I've been hot on that since it came out. Then another 3-drop character, our last 3-drop character, I believe, is going to be Benja, Guardian of the Dragon Gem, 2 3 for 3. Also a character that quests for 2, and is going to be able to go ahead and banish an item when it comes into play. So this is great into those item matchups to be able to get rid of those fishbone quills, lucky dimes, as it is relevant. Then our first major damage spell in the deck, we are only playing 3 of. Even though we are fairly heavy on characters, it is still contingent on the amount of characters you have in the field, so it's not always as good as you want it to be. But Strength of a Raging Fire, deal damage equal to the number of characters you have in play to target character. It is singable, it is inkable, and it does cost 3. And this one is a 4 of. People may argue to do it the other way around, but the card draw is super necessary. Let the Storm Rage On, cost 3, is a song, and is going to go ahead and deal 2 damage and let you draw a card, so that's always great to have. It's also a reason we're not playing more blue. It was just the inkable count in this deck. If you reduce the inkables elsewhere, you may be able to go ahead and fit in more blue, because I think he's great. And then the reason I've been talking about the heroes in the deck the whole time, we are playing 4 Philoctetes, 2 3 for 4, quest for 2. Obviously he is kind of a bummer against things like Brawl in the meta right now, but if you are in that Ruby matchup, you may be looking more likely at inking him, unless you know they've gotten their Brawls out of their hand early in the game on some of your other characters. But your hero characters gain Challenger +1, and whenever you play a hero character, you're going to go ahead and gain 1 lore, plus that quest for 2 can make him bring you a pretty major lore swing pretty early in the game. Like you go turn 4 Philoctetes and then turn 5 get 3 heroes on the board, you're going to be getting 3 lore right out of that. And one of our couple 4-drops in the deck, we do have 2 Along Came Zeus, deal 5 damage to a character or location, just a necessary evil in the current meta to deal with those locations and to deal with some of those bigger threat characters like Beast Tragic Hero. The one other 4-drop we are playing, so you're not always going to be singing Along Came Zeus, since all we have is Phil and a couple Rapunzels to do it. But it is Rapunzel 1 5 for 4, quest for 2. You're going to be able to heal a character for 3 and draw cards equal to the amount that you healed a character. As you may have seen with some of the other characters in this deck, there's not a ton of characters with more than 3 willpower, which makes it hard to get the full value off of this, which is why I'm only playing 2. But in those instances when she comes down and she is healing, even for 2, she can be very good. So we did go with 2 Rapunzels in this deck. Just still a fantastic staple in the meta, and she is also a hero if you weren't aware of that. Then in the 5-drop slot, we do have 2 major songs, as you could expect. We do have 3 Whole New World. Each player discards their hand and draws 7 cards. I think the meta right now is less favorable for Whole New World, but it is a fantastic card into the Bucky matchup to reset your hand, or when you're just able to go really hard aggro to the board, get Ariel out, and then play this. It can be pretty devastating for your opponent to deal with a second hand, and a lot of times you're discarding a lot more cards from their hand than you are from your own. So Whole New World can be favorable, but I thought it was worth cutting it down from 4 to 3, but still think this is a fantastic card. I wish I got more foils of it when they were not $20. Next up in the 5-drop slot, we do have Grab Your Sword. Again, super necessary evil in the current meta. It's great into the Steel Song mirror match currently. It's great into Bucky. It's good against some of the things in certain builds of Ruby Amethyst. It does deal with Flynn Rider Frenemy, so it's got some areas that it could be pretty good. Obviously, if you're going into like Sapphire Steel or something, it's going to be nearly unusable, which is why we're on 3 instead of 4, but grab your swords, really, really good. Then we've got another 3 of going up to the 6-drop slot. We are playing 3 Stitch Rockstar, as we talked about when we got onto Stitch New Dog. I am on the Rockstar shift line. Obviously, people have talked about he's not as good in the current meta into things like Madame Medusa, because she is going to go ahead and get a super favorable trade into him. But he's a 3/5 for 6 who quests for 3, and he does shift down for 4, so you can potentially get him out a couple turns sooner than Medusa is really going to be relevant to you. And if you can get some characters out after you get him down without him dying before that happens, you can get a little bit of card draw off of him as well. And if you're not playing into that Ruby matchup, they don't have Medusa, so they're going to have to deal with him another way. And then the final card in the deck, and I think this one's definitely going to be worth reading. Don't think a lot of people are paying attention to this card, and that is Mickey Mouse Musketeer Captain. I think this card is actually very good. It is a 7-cost uninkable, which is a little sketchy, and I think that's why more people aren't playing it. It is taking up uninkable slots. It is a 3/6, so it does die to Medusa as well. But again, maybe something you're looking at not playing into Medusa if you can avoid it, or playing it when it's more favorable to you. But it does have bodyguard and support, which is really, really good. So it's going to be able to give its attack to something else when it quests, and it's going to be able to protect with that bodyguard to lure off the quest. And when you play this character, if you use shift to play him, that's why we are playing the 4 2-cost Mickey Mouse. You are going to go ahead and draw a card for every character with bodyguard you have in play. My understanding is that does include him, so at the very least you're going to be able to go ahead and get 1 draw off of him. But if you have like Prince, if you have Donald Duck, if you have Baloo in play, you may be able to draw 2 or 3 cards if you have some other bodyguards out. So super fun card. I think Mickey Mouse needs a little more love. So we do have a little bit of a Musketeer theme going on with him and Donald Duck in this deck. Great to see playable Musketeers in the current meta. What do you guys think of this build of Steel Song? Would you just go more traditional, or would you try something like this to do something a little bit different, have a little bit of fun with it? Do you think it could be competitive into the big 4 that are terrorizing the meta right now? As always, thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you see those toys, video games, and Musketeer Captain Mickey Mouse's off in the distance, it is not a mirage. You guys have a great day.